Hello, Flow Tribe. What is up, you guys? And welcome back to a new podcast and another episode. So, today's episode is really going to be answering questions about what cycle syncing is and actually how to define whether or not it is time for you to implement the practice. We're also going to be touching on who cycle syncing is for because I think that by now, so many different people have heard all about cycle syncing. However, let's be real. Can this work for you if maybe you are a busy person or maybe your life isn't as just chill? Maybe you're somebody who does so many different things. You wear a lot of different hats. Does cycle syncing work for you? In today's episode, we are going to delve into it. But before we jump into that, I want to say a few things. So, first, in case you're new here and you have never heard this podcast, I'm Berri. I'm your host, but I am also the creator of Optimize Your Flo. In addition to being the creator of Optimize Your Flo, I'm also a board certified integrative health practitioner and holistic menstrual health educator. My number one mission is to teach you how to optimize your life in sync with your cycle, aka, we're going to be utilizing your menstrual cycle as the blueprint. Number two, if this is your first time hearing this podcast or being introduced to my work, well, let me just say you're in for a treat. But also for those of you who have been on this journey with me for quite some time, welcome back. And let me just say, I have missed you. Last but certainly not least, I would so appreciate if you followed the podcast, you subscribed to it, but also left a 5-star rating and review because it does mean a lot at the end of the day. And in the event that you do me a solid and send me a screenshot, and I'll actually send you 14 flow-friendly recipes that will help you eat your way to a better period. Now, without further ado, let's dive right on it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking all about cycle syncing. What is cycle syncing? Who is it for? And what are three key signs to know it's time for you to start? In case you're new here, you've never seen my face, I'm Berri. I'm a holistic menstrual health educator, board certified integrative health practitioner, and the creator of Optimize Your Flo. My number one goal is to teach you how to optimize your life in sync with your cycle so you can have not only better periods and healthier hormones, just an overall optimized life. I think it is so important that you work with your biology rather than against it. So let's get into this. What the heck is cycle syncing? Okay, let me just say this. Cycle syncing is a practice of aligning all aspects of your life with your menstrual cycle. The end. That is the definition of cycle syncing. But beyond that, it's really taking time to understand the ebbs and flows of your hormones throughout your menstrual cycle and strategically utilizing that to guide different decisions that you may be making when it comes to fitness, nutrition, wellness. Now, my specialty is when it comes to performance and productivity, but that's not why we're talking today. Today, I want to answer that question. What is cycle syncing? So it's the practice of aligning all aspects of your life with your menstrual cycle. The end. Now, who can actually practice cycle syncing? In my opinion, pretty much any and everyone can practice cycle syncing. However, I have found that because cycle syncing is really fairly robust once you have begun it, once you get into the nuances, I love to say that the best people to practice cycle syncing are people who like to learn constantly. Okay. If you're somebody who is not constantly interested in learning and pursuing, optimal health and well-being, cycle syncing may not be for you. Not because it's not a phenomenal practice that can help you have pain-free periods or help you alleviate any hormonal things and mood swings and different things like that. It's for people who are okay putting in work. It's for people who consistently want to learn and grow and improve. What I have found over the past 4 years of working with clients, especially as it relates to cycle syncing, is that not everybody is cut out for cycle syncing. Some people are lazy, straight up. Okay. Some people don't want to do the work. Some people don't want to continuously improve their health. Some people get tired, and I like to be really realistic because I understand that not everybody is going going to want to wake up every day and know what phase of their cycle they're in. Not everybody's going to want to wake up every single day and say, okay, well, since I'm ovulating, maybe I need to consume more complex carbohydrates, more micronutrients and minerals and things along those lines. So who is cycle syncing for? Cycle syncing is for those of you who want to achieve optimal health, especially if you have periods. Now, you might be thinking, well, is cycle syncing still for me if, maybe I have an irregular cycle, or maybe I have hypothalamic amenorrhea, which is, when your period is missing, right? Yes. Why? Because you're still going to have this rise and fall. And because you have an irregular cycle, or maybe you haven't had your period in a few years, or maybe, you are in it's complicated situation with your period right now, it's still going to be for you. Why? Because your cycle is going to really tell you a lot about your overall health and well-being as a menstruating individual at the end of the day. If you identify as a modern woman or menstruating individual, you're in the right place. What's up, boo? Okay. Now, with that being said, let me share with you 3 key signs as to whether or not you should be practicing cycle syncing. My first symbol, my first sign is if you are somebody who does not trust your body, you need to be practicing cycle syncing, okay? If you feel like your period pain is so bad and like your period is out to get you, or your mood swings are so awful that it's ruining different things in your life, like relationships with people, right? You, my friend, need to practice cycle syncing immediately, okay? The second sign that it's time for you to practice cycle syncing is if you feel that you struggle when it comes to your performance and productivity when you're PMSing, okay, or on your period. If you notice that you can't think the right way, or you can't focus, or you have a lack of mental clarity, maybe you're dealing with brain fog, you feel really burnt out, you need to be practicing cycle syncing, because again, cycle syncing is going to help you work with your biology rather than against it. It's going to help you, really understand the highs and lows. It's going to help you understand, the different type of connectivity between your brain throughout different phases of your cycle. Okay. And the third and final way to know whether or not you should be cycle syncing is if you know your PMS symptoms or your period pain is negatively impacting people in your life. And when I say negatively impacting people in your life, maybe you have FOMO once a month, every month, because your period's going to show up, but maybe your bestie is getting married, right? And you're like, well, am I going to be able to be at the wedding because I'm in so much pain, right? Like maybe you think about that, or perhaps you are realizing that it's really ruining your actual relationships. Maybe you find yourself in this like weird like pattern of like, oh, we're together, we're not together. Or maybe you find that you can't even show up for your clients some days, whether you are an entrepreneur or maybe a working professional, because your period pain is so bad. That right there tells you it is time for you to start cycle syncing. So just to recap that, okay? If your period and your PMS is negatively impacting your relationship with yourself, so your personal health and well-being, if it is negatively impacting your productivity and your performance, and you're constantly feeling low energy and burnt out, or if your cycle and your period and PMS is really negatively impacting other people in your life, friend, it is time for you to start cycle syncing. Now, I know you might be thinking, okay, sis, I love this. I want more of this. Tell me how to get started. I want to share with you 3 incredible resources that are really going to transform your life. So the first and foremost would be my daily checklist, which I've linked down below for you. So go ahead and sign up for my daily checklist. The second thing is going to be the optimal bundle, which is going to actually be 2 of my incredible masterclasses and my ebook, also linked down below. And the third thing is to get on the wait list for my signature program, the starter program. It is a 28-day kickstart to really learning how to sync with your cycle so you can optimize every aspect or facet, better yet, of your life. I would love to hear your thoughts about this concept and maybe whether or not you're ready to implement it, and any questions you have. So go ahead, make sure you leave a like, a comment, a subscribe. And as always, I'm sending you big love and flowy vibes, and I'll talk to you soon.